as you stray. Oh, thank you.
Oh, that was lovely, yes? I wish you could see the way I see you, right? All that infinite possibility. Last week, we talked about what it meant to live intentionally, to actually live into what we would call a spiritual intention, right? And spiritual intentions are what support our being able to experience a shift in consciousness. And it's the shifts in consciousness that actually create shifts in the manifest realm. So sometimes we get caught up and we think, I got to change it here in order to make it better. But where we need to change and shift is here. There's always the invisible behind the visible. And what we know in Teach in Unity is that invisible, that is a place that is rich with possibility and potential and freedom and flow and light and love. And so when we are engaging in that spaciousness, we have an opportunity to begin to see something in time and in space. So, and I'm just going to briefly, you can watch my talk from last week if you want more details, but this is sort of Joe Dispenza 101. And he talks about the idea that elevated emotions like joy and relief and freedom have a higher frequency than the survival emotions of fear and anger and jealousy and guilt. Can we feel how that feels true? And that if we change the frequency of the emotional life that we are existing within, that we can change the energy. And that is a way to support new consciousness and new thoughts and new intentions. So his whole process, what he's inviting us into, is to shift away from survival emotions. How many people in here live in survival emotions, right? I did a whole talk on catastrophizing, right? So we want to shift away. It's not that we ignore them. All of our emotions are good. We pay attention when we go into survival emotions. And then we have practices. We have things we can do that we can use to help us realign with something that has a higher vibrational frequency. And so when we focus on our spiritual nature, then we can nurture those emotions, and regardless of what our experience is. And I've shared how that's been my experience with pain, right? That if I focus on the pain in my foot, then guess what happens to the pain? It just grows. It just becomes all-encompassing. Now, don't get me wrong. Sometimes the pain is all-encompassing. But then I get to go back into my practice, focus on my spiritual nature, nurture those more elevated spaces within myself. So when we're talking about living intentionally, can you feel how this links in directly with abundance consciousness? How when we are saying yes to possibility, when we're saying yes to potential, we are saying yes to an abundant world. And our world is very much caught up in scarcity and lack and not enoughness. And so this is work. I'm not going to lie to you. This is work. This is what we are being asked to be an avatar for. So if we want to talk about abundance consciousness, we can describe it this way: a mindset focused on recognizing possibility, potential, and creating opportunities rather than limitations. Now, we often get hung up with abundance consciousness and we think it's only about money, it's all about money, it's all about money, it's all about stuff. Can you feel how we want to hold an abundance consciousness from our spiritual nature? Can you feel how that shifts it? So I've had Olympic fever. I'm not going to lie. I have been obsessed. Chris and I sit there. You know how most of you are probably just watching the highlights? Oh, no. Chris and I sit there with the 5 hours of track and field running on the television, right? We are completely obsessed. And I was sitting with, what is it about it that keeps making me turn on? I've watched more television in the last 2 weeks than I can even imagine. What is it about it that keeps me coming back, that keeps me going? And there is something about how Olympic athletes live abundance consciousness. They live it day to day, moment to moment. They are committed to unlimited potential. They're committed to a mindset of possibility. I don't know, but I couldn't do some of those vault jumps or if I wasn't committed to a mindset of possibility. They focus on excellence, not scarcity. There's only 3 medals. There's only 3 medals. We could focus on the scarcity of the 3 medals, but they focus on the excellence. They focus on how they are being invited to show up. Can you feel what a difference that is? They have dedication to a vision. They are dedicated to the vision. And they have a disciplined process for growth. Now, if we could become Olympic athletes in our own lives, we too would be able to experience this abundance of consciousness. I'm so glad they fixed the PowerPoint because, of course, today's talk is all photos. The man, LeBron James, right? So this abundance consciousness, this could be like, oh, that sounds wonderful. Oh, this is lovely. Oh, it'll be like butterflies and sunshine. And then you just take a look at LeBron James in that game, right? You take a look at this is the women's soccer team. This is Rodman against Brazil. You take a look at, this is Lana Marshall in the women's rugby. Bronze to the women's rugby team, right? This is intense. You look at Noah, right? He ran with COVID, and he still got a medal. The man ran with COVID. He has asthma. He ran with COVID, and he got a medal. And then there he is at the end of the race. He had to be wheeled off the track in a wheelchair. So some of this is about grit, right? Some of this is about grit. This is about guts, resilience, initiative, and tenacity, right? Can you feel how you have to have that if you want to be an Olympian on the track? But can you also feel how we need to have this if we want to be Olympians in our life? Right? We have to be willing to take a risk. We have to be willing to bounce back when that risk doesn't work out. We have to take initiative to live into it, and we have to be tenacious. We have to be tenacious. So it's not just about grit, though. So sometimes I think we get caught up and we think it's all about grit. Don't get me wrong, grit is awesome, and this is what I shared last week about how we live an intentional life, that we need these 6 components combined with the grit in order for us to actually truly succeed. We need patience and gentleness and compassion. We need to celebrate. Remember, only baby steps. Celebrate every baby step, no judgment zone. We need to have appreciation and gratitude for every little thing that is supporting us on our journey. So when we combine these with the process of grit, right, can you feel how this is how we can begin to shift consciousness, behaviors, and energy? That all of these pieces working together can allow us to transform our life into the truth of who we are, where we get to reveal more of who we are and never less. So I'm going to start with examples of patience, gentleness, and compassion in the Olympics, because grit is hard to find. I mean, grit is easy to find in the Olympics, yes? Patience, gentleness, and compassion. So for me, the person who embodies this is Simone Biles. This is actually a photo of her, right? We can applaud Simone Biles. This is a photo of her from Tokyo in 2020. And this is her bronze medal. She has said that that bronze medal is so important to her. This is a woman who is draped in gold medals. This bronze medal is so important to her because she achieved it even in the midst of what was one of the hardest moments in her life. If she hadn't been able to bring patience and compassion and gentleness to herself, she very well could have seriously injured herself. She would have not been listening. And then she comes back, right? She comes back again. And she steps in. So can you feel how the grit and the compassion and gentleness, like they have to work together. They have to work together. So I don't know if you saw this. Free little Olympic addict that I am. This is Yaroslava Mahuchik. And she is from Ukraine. And you can see her doing the high jump there, right? No pole, no nothing, just running at the thing, launching her body in the air and coming down on the other side. It's just amazing to me. If you watch the whole thing and not just the highlights, what you saw is that every time she stepped up to start her run, she would do self-talk. I got this. I'm good. I'm great. You're going to do this. We got this. Don't. And she would breathe. And you could read her lips on some of it, right? We're going to go. And then she'd run. That sort of self-care, that sort of understanding what you need. It was the most amazing. I said to Chris, she's doing affirmations right before she leaps. And she won, right? But it's just an amazing thing to think what happens when we actually are practicing self-care, when we're actually being gentle with ourselves. That also moves to other people. So this is Emma Hayes, who's the women's coach, the coach for the U.S. women's soccer team. And we beat Japan in order to get into the gold medal round. And this is Emma comforting one of the members of the Japanese team who was just devastated by the loss. So we can bring compassion not just to ourselves, but we can bring it to other people. This is Kevin Durant. This is after the game yesterday. Was it yesterday? It's so hard to tell with the time zone, but the game that the men's basketball team played against France. And Victor Wembanyama is a French player, and there is Kevin Durant consoling him after France lost. So that compassion, that gentleness is part of what it means to live in abundant. Can you feel that? Not just for me, but for everyone. It makes us more spacious. And of course, at the Olympics, there is so much celebration, right? Like that, I'm going to flip through these photos quickly, but the celebration, the appreciation, the gratitude, right, for all of our successes, for what it is that we accomplished, right? This is Benjamin, he won, and also like ritual, creating ritual around our celebrations, around our successes. So this bell thing never existed in any other Olympics. The French came up with this idea because the cathedral in Notre Dame, that's the bell for the Notre Dame Cathedral that will be placed back into the cathedral when they finish the renovation. And so they set it on the field. And so in all the track and field events, only the gold winner is ringing the bell. And it's a big deal. It's like a huge deal for them. But in other track and field, in some of the other events, anybody who got a medal got to go up and ring the bell, right? So we create ritual. We create ways that we can actually celebrate. So here's the women's soccer team celebrating. This is the 4x100 relay, right? Sha'Carri Richardson, right? She's amazing, and she got her gold in this. She was unbelievable. This is the men's volleyball team. They won a bronze. Look how happy they are. And you know, they have done studies, and they have found that people who win the bronze are happier than the people who win the silver. Because the people who win the silver feel like they just missed. And the people who win the bronze are like, we're on the medal podium. So this is the men's gymnastics team, again, winning a bronze. Look how excited they are. I mean, when you think about it, we're like, oh, they got the bronze. I'm like, they got the bronze. It's crazy the way we create these things in our mind that somehow make winning a bronze less impressive than winning a silver or a gold. It's just as impressive. Can you feel how it's just as impressive? It really is. And then we want to also celebrate other people's successes and appreciate other people, right? Because there are no limits to victory and joy. It's not like there's only this amount to go around, and if I get it, then no one else can have it, or if they get it, then I don't have any. So some of the examples, so this is after the 4x100, and you can see all of the teams are just everybody is just so thrilled and congratulating each other and supportive of each other. This is Simone Biles finishing her floor routine, and look at her coach, look at her teammates, right? Cheering her on, supporting her. So He Bingjiao is a badminton player, and when she won her silver, she's holding a Spanish flag because her opponent had to bow out of the competition due to an injury. Honoring, wishing them the best, right? Honoring this other competitor. There's enough room on the podium for both. And this is the women's rugby. This is the 3 medal winners, and they purposefully mix themselves up in the photo because how many people in here watch rugby? Oh, you should. It's so much fun, but it is crazy. I mean, it's insane what these women are doing. I mean, their strength, their ability, it's crazy, and it's rough. You talk about grit. Rugby players got a lot of grit. And so they took this photo specifically so everyone would know that no matter how intense it is on the field, they're all friends. They all support each other. They're all committed to this higher vision of making rugby something that is more aware, that people are more aware of rugby and that it's more popular in the United States. That's a vision they all hold together. And then, of course, this moment, I think, is probably going to go down in history, where Rebecca Andrade, who is an incredible gymnast, right? Now, if you watch that event, by the time the gymnasts get to the individuals, they are exhausted. They're just exhausted from everything they've been doing. So it is always in the individuals where you watch people just fall. And I mean, that balance beam, it was like slicked with something very slippery, oil, because there were 2 people that didn't fall off the beam out of everybody who competed. And in the men's high bar, they just kept falling off. They're tired, right? So instead of Simone making stories, narratives, right? She literally gets down and bows to Rebecca Andrade and the skill that she brought and the capacity they brought and the incredible gymnast that she is, right? All of these are ways that, can you feel how, this is why I was addicted to the Olympics, right? Because watching people support other people actually supported me, because there's only one consciousness happening. And then there's the gratitude and appreciation for all the ways that people were supported. This moment went viral, right, with Tara Davis Woodhull. She finished the race and she just ran to her husband. And you can see how ecstatic he is that she won. He's also an Olympian. He's a para-Olympian, so they're going to be staying. And he's going to be competing in the Paralympics, right? But she has said she couldn't have done this without his support. It would not have happened without his support. This is Suni Lee's family. And can you feel how important it is that we cheer each other on? That aspect is something that we're bringing into abundance consciousness. This one I love. So this is the 4x400 relay, which we did win, right? So if you look, you probably don't know who Alexis Holmes is, but you probably know who Gabby Thomas is, and Shamir Little and Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone. They won medals, right, at the Olympics. Sydney is incredible. She just blew through a world record. Gabby Thomas as well. I mean, these runners are incredible. Alexis Holmes did not make it into the 400. She runs the 400. She did not make it into the final meet. She placed sixth. She placed sixth. It was her best time ever, and she placed sixth. That's because the field was crazy, right? So she did not get to run in the 400. So what does the team do? They make her the anchor. Now, I don't know if you understand how relays work, but the anchor is like the pivotal role. The anchor is the one that's going to pull it off. The anchor is the one that when they cross the finish line, the anchor is who we all remember. Sha'Carri Richards, right? The anchor is like the one. And they gave it to Alexis Holmes. This is how we can support each other. Because the woman ran the best time of her life. So she got to run, she got to anchor, and they won a gold medal. Everybody gets to win, right? Alexis got her moment she got a moment she actually deserved. Can you feel that? That her teammates were like, you deserve a medal and you deserve to be in the spotlight because you're amazing. And I don't know if you've watched some of these runners, man, they got egos the size of right? All of those egos stepped aside to make room for this runner to have her moment. This is an abundant consciousness. Can you feel that? That there's enough focus, there's enough attention, there's enough. We can share it, we can be open-hearted about it. And then we have just the gratitude and appreciation for the journey. Right? You've heard the athletes are all about how grateful I am just to compete, opportunity to represent their country. I mean, you hear it over and over and over again. And Sha'Carri Richardson's, I think, really embodied this. Fastest woman on the planet until 4 days ago. Right? Fastest woman on the planet until 4 days ago, where she took silver. Look at her face. This is her realizing she took silver. Does she look like she wants to die? Does she look like she hates what happened? She is just like, I got silver. Now, was she disappointed? Probably. But she is standing in the gratitude and appreciation for just being able to compete, for just being able to show up, for having done her absolute best. Remember, that's one of the pieces of an abundance consciousness, that we're just focused on personal excellence, not perfection, personal excellence. And then this is the last piece. And if you're watching the Olympics, you know that the athletes often talk about, I was just in a zone and everything just went. And, there's this, they may actually talk about God. They may actually give thanks in that way. But ultimately, they're trusting in the process. They are connected to their greater purpose. and they have a belief in themselves and their own capacities. And it's that last one that I want everybody in here to breathe into. They have a belief in themselves and their capacities. What if you actually had faith in your spiritual capacities? What if you actually believed in you? What would you be capable of accomplishing if you actually made faith something that was actually included you? That it wasn't just faith in whatever's out there is all going to work out and I know it's in perfect order. We all say it, right? It's all working together for my greatest good. We all say things like that. And there's nothing wrong with that. But what if we also said, everything in here is working together for my greatest good? Everything I know and understand about myself is working together for my greatest good. Because that is what these athletes do again and again and again and again. So unlimited potential, mindset of possibility, focus on excellence, not scarcity, dedication to a vision, and then a disciplined process to grow into that. So Noah Lyle, who his event is the 200, and he decided he wanted to run the 100. And I know that doesn't sound like that's like a big difference, but it's like night and day. And he had to work for an entire year just on how to get off the block. Because in the 100, there's no time to, he's fast, and he can make it up over distance. But in the 100, if you're not off that block, then there's nothing happening. He spent a year. I was watching a documentary, and all he does all day long is practice getting off the block. Practice getting off the block. And his coach saying, no, your head needs to be a little bit lower. I mean, that is a disciplined process for him to actually win the gold at the Olympics in the 100. And it's very, very rare that people can compete in the 100 and the 200. They're such different beasts. He had to work at that in order. So he had a vision, and then he applied, but he was tapped into mindset of possibility, unlimited potential, focusing on excellence. It's never been done before. That's scarcity, right? Focus on excellence. I am going to run the 100 as fast as I can. I'm going to train to do this as fast as I can. So how do we cultivate an abundant life, right? Because this is all fine and great. These are Olympic athletes. I do want to be clear, though, that a lot of these Olympic competitors have day jobs, have real jobs that they go to, right? It's not as if they just do this all the time. They actually carve out time in the midst of family and kids and work and everything and having fun. One of the number one themes that was really prominent in this Olympics with the athletes was, I want to lead a more balanced life. I want to lead a more balanced life. Ledecky said that too. She's like, I'm assessing whether I want to keep swimming because I'm really interested in a more balanced life. So, what do? We vision and we set goals. We embrace the challenges. We don't run from them. We embrace them. That's what athletes do, right? Literally think about the hurdles that people jump over in the 400 and in the 100. In the 100, it's so cool because it's like they jump a hurdle, they take 2 steps, and then they jump another one. Life can feel like that sometimes. But if we train, if we are willing to be dedicated, we too can take those challenges in the very same way. We have to appreciate every opportunity that there is, not dismiss it. Oh, well, whatever, that's not that important. That's not a big deal. We have to appreciate everything. We have to celebrate the baby steps. I'm going to say that over and over and over again. Celebrate the baby steps. Everybody say it with me. Celebrate the baby steps. We somehow think that we're supposed to get from point A to Z, and like it's just supposed to just like happen, and we're only going to say, yes, good job when we get to Z. We want to be compassionate with ourselves. We want to support others. And we have to practice gratitude. So this is the other major component of an abundance consciousness. How grateful are you for the things you already have? How grateful are you for all the blessings that are in your life right now? Do you actually honor them? Do you actually stand in that space of gratitude and appreciation? Every time I get in my car, I am so grateful for that car. I am. I love it. So I practice gratitude for those kinds of things. Every time Chris and I get into bed at night, I am so grateful for her presence, for her being there. And I anchor that for myself every single night. How do you practice gratitude for the things that maybe you're not even paying attention to anymore? And then we have to nurture our faith. And like I said, not faith in some airy-fairy God out there that's going to take care of it all for me. Sometimes that's all we can do. I'm with you. And the faith we want to nurture is the faith of an Olympian, which is that I have capacities that are untapped. And I am going to unleash those so that I get to experience my greatest good. Ledecky actually supposedly went up to a couple of her rivals and she thanked them because they made her better. She thanked them. She made a point of thanking them for being part of how she was called to show up and be in the world. How easy would it be to make the rival other, rather than the rival being part of how I am being called to excellence? And that there's no separation in that. Because she was called to excellence, and they were called to excellence. Can you imagine swimming against her? That's going to call you to excellence, right? If you want a forum where you can dive into this more fully, we are teaching Metamorphosis just started, right? Absolute Abundance Metamorphosis just started. And over the 10 weeks that this class runs, you get to practice all of this. You get to practice this in a safe and a supportive environment where you get to really dive deep. And if you've taken it before, I highly recommend that you take it again, because you are not where you were then. And you are going to hear things and notice things that you never noticed before. Oop, I'm going the wrong way. It's the story of my life sometimes. Going the wrong way. So that's on Wednesday evenings from 7 to 9. It's online. So if you're interested, you can find out more online. There's some information in the bulletin board as well out front. So are we ready to take this into meditation? Whew. Are we ready to be Olympians in our own life? Right? Wouldn't that be fun? You're going to give yourself a gold medal? So just breathe into the energy that the Olympics is, this opportunity for excellence, this opportunity to be in an environment where you get to strive and show up as the fullness of who you are. That's the agreement at the Olympics, that everyone is there to show up to the best of their ability. And I just invite you to feel that in your life right now. That support, the support of family and friends, the support of the structures in your life. Maybe you have a beautiful home. Maybe you have a loving pet. Maybe you have extended family. Maybe you have a circle of friends that are just amazing. And just allow yourself to feel that external support, that which holds you and resources you. And as we allow that support to quiet any of the narrative going on in our minds, I invite you to just settle into the inner support system that you are. What does that look like? What are the pieces of your life that you can highlight with gratitude and appreciation? Do you have a regular prayer practice, a regular meditation practice, a regular journaling practice? Do you say affirmations to yourself before you walk out the door so that you, like that fabulous high jumper, are setting yourself up for the best experience you can have? Where are you helping others? Where are you supporting others? Where are you the cheerleader? Knowing that as they shine their light, you are shining your light all the brighter. Just allow yourself to feel where that space is that doesn't feel abundant, that feels the lack, that feels the limitation. Just bring that into your mind, wherever that is. Maybe it's time. We often sometimes feel we never have enough time. Maybe it's money, maybe it's love, maybe it's joy, maybe it's health. Just bring that limited awareness into this spacious container. Limitless possibilities, infinite potential. And let's just rest here as we allow that limited idea to perhaps grow, perhaps shift. As we rest here together in the silence. As we welcome this opportunity to grow and expand and unleash and undo and breathing room, feeling these elevated emotions of freedom and relief, of joy. Allow yourself to know joy for all that you are, for all that you have, for all that you are continuing to reveal in time and in space. And just in your imagination, I invite you to place a gold medal right there around your neck. And just feel the weight of that. That yes. That journey of excellence always arrives at a gold medal in consciousness. And gratitude for this, knowing that it just continues to work us, continues to speak and guide in ways that are always about more freedom and more joy and more light and more love. I am so grateful. And together we say, and so it is. Amen. Ashe.